hi. Merry Christmas. I know this is not who you expect to see when you click on this channel. My name is Melissa, also known as Queen Bee. My husband, obviously, is who you are usually here to see, newbie Tom. But today I'm going to do a guest spot, a little movie review for a movie that I love, that is my absolute favorite Christmas movie, and I just love it so much. And so Tom allowed me, invited me even, to come on his channel and share the enthusiasm and passion that I have for this movie with you guys, his viewers. So hi, I'm very happy to be here. Merry Christmas to everyone, and let's just get on with it, okay? So the movie that I want to talk to you guys about today, it's a very different movie. It is a movie that I have never met another person in the world, besides like me and my family, that have seen this movie. I know people have seen it. It's won awards. There are reviews out there for it. There's a whole IMDb page on it. I know people have seen it. And if you are one of the lucky people that have seen this movie, please leave it in the comments below what you thought of it, how you found it, because it is kind of a little rare, I guess, kind of like a little hidden gem. And I will tell you the story of how I came across it. So my son and I, he's 20 now, but, his whole life, basically, we've, spent a lot of time together, watched a lot of TV together. As he got older and became a teenager, we started watching, like, very similar movies, like suspense, horror movies, that kind of thing. And we're both night owls, and so very, very frequently, we would find ourselves up in the middle of the night, flipping through channels, looking for something to watch on Netflix or whatever. And we came across this movie, and this movie is called Patchtown. It had a weird, like, little synopsis on Netflix. I forget exactly what it said. I now own the DVD. It doesn't come in Blu-ray. I wish to God it did. If it came in anything, I would buy it. I don't remember what the little synopsis said on Netflix, but it was enough to kind of, pique our interest. And we have this, like, saying that, like, okay, we'll start any movie, we'll try it, and if it sucks, like, 10 minutes into it or whatever, we'll just, turn it off. Okay, so this movie opens as weird as the little synopsis is. So it's something about Cabbage Patch babies and abandonment. It's complicated. But it starts off with like a commercial, basically, for a company called Patch Enterprises who makes toys. And through this commercial, you see like how they're the world's leading like toy manufacturer, and their toys are so realistic, and they made this and that and the other, and it's just a commercial for a toy company. And then it focuses in on this town, which is a total CGI town, but you still, whatever. They zoom in on the town, the city, and then you're inside of a factory. And in this factory, there are people in these like little booths, and in front of them is like a conveyor belt with cabbages. Yeah, cabbages. And so they would pick a cabbage off the conveyor belt, take a knife, cut it open, pull out a baby. And the babies are like, I don't know, this big maybe? And they're crying, and they wipe them off with like a rag, tie their feet, tie their feet with like a rope or something, and attach the rope to something, pull a string, the baby goes up, and then they do the next cabbage. We're like, what the hell? What is this? What's happening? This is the only way I can describe this movie. Okay, everybody has heard of Cabbage Patch Kids, right? From the 80s. And the whole idea behind Cabbage Patch Kids is that there are, like, cabbage fields somewhere that are inside the cabbages. There are babies, and then these babies are born into cabbage patches, and they have to be adopted by children, given loving homes, right? Well, imagine if that story, that concept, was made into a movie, but it was done by Tim Burton. But Tim Burton was really, really high on, like, crack or LSD or something. And there was a guest spot by one of the kids in the hall, and there's no Johnny Depp or Helena Bonham Carter. That's what this movie is. And it's awesome. It's amazing. Oh, and, okay, so you see the guy with the cabbage and the baby and all that, and then he starts to sing. And I look at my son, and he looks at me, and we're like, is this a musical? Yes. Yes, my friends. It is also a musical. It is amazing. So, I'm not going to go into the entire story, the entire plot. We're not going to go through it. I will tell you a little bit kind of about the movie and the setup. First of all, let's talk the basics. It's called Patchtown. Here's the DVD cover, if you guys can see that. The director is Craig Goodwill. Never heard of him before. I don't know that much about movies. I'm not like my husband, but I've never heard of him before. It came out in 2015. Here's the thing, though. It was a short film. They had a short film about it in 2014. And then that won so many awards, and it did so well that they decided that they were going to make it into a feature-length film. It's about an hour and a half, hour 23 minutes. And that came out in 2015. It stars Zoe Palmer. Never heard of her before this, but she's actually been in a few different things. She was in that Devil movie, I think, where they're all in the elevator, the M. Night Shyamalan movie. Julian Richings, Rob Ramsey. A little fun fact about him, he's like the main character, right? Rob Ramsey is in this movie. We just happened to see him a couple months ago whenever It Chapter 2 came out. He actually plays an orderly in that. We were like, oh my god, it's the guy from Patchtown. Anyway, and then Ken Hall is also in it. And then there's a small little cameo from Scott Thompson from Kids in the Hall. So random. I don't understand it. But anyway, let's get into the basic idea of the movie. So you've got this town, and they are harvesting babies from cabbage. Okay. Well, they give you the backstory, like they do a full thing where they go back in time, flashback. That's what it's called. They do a full flashback of this old man, and he hears babies crying, and he's out in the woods in his little cabin. And he hears these babies, and he goes out into the woods, and he finds this cabbage patch, and there's babies in the cabbage patch. So he grabs them and he brings them inside, and he tries to take care of them as best he can, but it's a lot of babies, and he's an old man. And he has a son that's his biological son, not his cabbage patch son, which is weird. And the son's 10, 12, something like that. And he has zero interest in helping taking care of these little babies. So it's too much. It's too much for the old man. So the old man he's an inventor and a toy maker. So he invents a machine that takes these babies and turns them into dolls. Stay with me, okay? It's okay. Just accept it, okay? He's able to take a live human, I assume, baby, put it in this machine, it comes out, and it's just a doll. But the doll is aware. It knows what's going on. It's making memories. It can feel things. It can see things. It can hear things. It just can't, react. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So, sorry, there's like a fuzzy thing flying around here. After these dolls, of course, are then given to children out in the outside world. And at that point, the children adopt them, just like you do a Cabbage Patch Kid. And these, mostly little girls, will take them and love them, and they turn into their moms. You know, they're like, oh, this is my baby, and they carry it everywhere until they lose interest. They grow up. These dolls get discarded. They get ignored, forgotten about, that kind of thing. When that happens, the son, who is now grown into a teenager or very young adult, now goes back out into the world and recollects the dolls from the children. Basically steals the dolls back after they've been thrown away or whatever. Brings them back to the cabin where elderly dad has now invented a new machine that will take them from dolls back to humans. And then they become... Well, I don't know what his plan was for them. It doesn't really go into that. But as he's working on his first one to turn it back from a doll into a baby, dad has a heart attack and he dies. So he tells the son, take care of them as if they were your own. The son's not so much into that. So instead of taking care of them, excuse me, he decides that he's going to bring them back, turn them back into humans, and turn them into workers, slaves, kind of thing, which is the people that you saw in the factory. So now they work for him, and they're slaving away at this factory all day, getting these new babies out so he can turn them into dolls so that he can make a profit. Because he's more interested in the business profiting side than he is taking care of kids, right? So when he said take care of them like they're your own, he kind of like took it as a property sense. Okay, so I know it sounds crazy. I know it does. Bear with me. It's not crazy. I mean, it is crazy. One second. I'm dying here. Okay. So, it is crazy, but it's like the best kind of crazy, if that makes sense. There's so much to love about it. So then you find your main character who was working in the factory, and one of the rules there in Patchtown is that you can't have your own kids. You can't take a cabbage from the factory. You can't, I guess they don't make their own kids like biologically, but you can't like just take a Cabbage Patch Kid because that's a profit thing. So you're like stealing from the company if you try to do that. So anyway, our main character goes, his name is John. He goes home after his long day at work, sees his wife, Mary, and they're just the cutest things, the cutest little couple. And then you realize that they have a baby. And their baby's name is Daisy. And Daisy lives in the floor because they're not supposed to have her. So they have this like little cutout. They pop it open. She's in the floor. You just have to accept that that's just how. Don't think about it too much. That's just how they've been living. And they see one of their neighbors gets in trouble for having a baby. They get sent off to re-education, which is like a brainwashing kind of electroshock kind of therapy that they do to brainwash them. And their baby gets killed. So, by the way, I know this is about Cabbage Patch Kids, kind of. I mean, it's not, they don't call them Cabbage Patch Kids, but come on. But it's not a kid's movie. It's kind of a dark comedy, drama, yeah, kind of thing. And we're going to get to why it's a Christmas movie in just a minute. Anyway, John and Mary watch this happen to their neighbors. They're freaking out. Then Daisy starts to cry. And so the people are coming after them, and they book it out of town, right? It's a lot more complicated than that, but I'm not going to go into all the details, because some of this stuff, you just need to watch it. Just watch it. So they're on the run. They meet up with this other guy, Sly, who has a van and takes them out into like the real world, which looks a lot like America, but they never call it America. And John decides he wants to find his mom, which was the little girl that adopted him when he was a Cabbage Patch toy. Because I think he believes that she will help them, or something good will happen if he finds her. So the whole movie, or the vast majority of the movie, all that stuff that I was telling you about happens like the first 15 minutes. The rest of the movie is about him trying to find his mom, being chased by the people from Patchtown, all the drama that ensues with that. There's kidnapping, there's fights, they get arrested by the Fuzzy Popo. That's what they call the police, the Fuzzy Popo. This movie has everything. It is funny. It is dramatic. It is silly, but yet still believable. The one thing that it has in spades is heart. The actors do a wonderful job. Even though you're talking about a silly kind of concept, their performances are believable as much as anything can be in that genre. That makes sense. It's definitely like a dark fantasy fairy tale kind of thing, but it is really well acted, really well played. Every character is amazing. They all have their own motivations. They're all well-rounded characters. And the reason it's my favorite Christmas movie is because after you're about halfway into it, you realize it's Christmas time. And not only is it Christmas time, but whenever they get on the outside, they have to start working as like mall Santas to make ends meet, right? So there is, at one point in the movie, which I won't even tell you at one point, but at one point there are like tons of Santas, like an army of Santas running and fighting, and it's like it's a whole thing. So it's like Christmas time. There's Santas everywhere. If you look, whenever they go to Patchtown, the road signs say Patchtown this way, North Pole this way. There's all these like little Christmas things snuck in there. Let's see, what else I want to talk about. Oh, yes. Yes. The representation in this movie, I mean, they have everything. First of all, there's a very strong theme that overweight people, much heavier people, are the good guys, and the skinny, like kind of gaunt, like where they're like, I can't even make myself do it. My cheeks are so big, but like they're like, their cheeks are sunken in, and they're very, very thin and look sickly almost. Those are always the bad guys. So you've got overweight people, you have skinny people, you have old people, you have young people, you have many different races. There's somebody with dwarfism. There is single parents. There's a gay couple in there. There's all kinds of representation, and it's never even mentioned. It's never, no one talks about it. It's just like the way the world is. Let's see what else. You do take it very seriously, even though it's a silly, funny movie. There are parts where it's like very serious, and you do take it very seriously, and you actually care about the characters, which, for me, that's the hallmark of a good movie. If you actually care about what's happening to the people, if you actually care if they're going to succeed in their goals, if they're going to make it, if they're going to get caught or whatever, then that, to me, shows that you're invested in a way. And I was so invested the first time I saw this movie, and every single time since. We watch it every single Christmas. I love it. I love it. I love it. What else did I want to say? I think that's about it. I don't want to talk about too many details or how the plot goes or too much, because I want you to see it. It is not on Netflix anymore. It is on Amazon Prime. If you have that, it's free with Prime. I don't know where else you could see it. But please, check it out. Let us know what you think. I love it. My son loves it. My husband, he thinks it's okay. He doesn't see the genius and the he just doesn't see the pure gold that this movie is. Nobody does, because I don't know why. I don't know why. I love it. My son loves it. In fact, we're thinking about getting matching Patchtown tattoos. I'm not even kidding. So that's how much we love this movie, and that's how much I wanted to share my love of this movie with you guys. I think that's all I have to say, you guys. I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. I want you to have a safe New Year, a very prosperous and beautiful and healthy New Year for all of you. And I'm hoping maybe I can do some more of these guest reviews if you like them. If you want to give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up for the Queen Bee. That would be really, really nice. I know I'm not like my husband in the fact that, like, he's very funny and he has all of his little, he adds in all his little jokes and things like that. And that's one of the reasons I love him so much, because he is so creative and amazing. And I am more I'm just me. I just talk just how I feel. So not a lot of editing here, and I hope that you guys are cool with that. And I hope you check out the movie. And if you have already, if you've seen it, if you know this movie, if you love it, even if you hate it, let me know in the comments. I'm going to be watching the comments, because I have to find more people that know this movie. Okay, that's it. That's Patchtown. Please go check it out. And hopefully I'll see you guys later. Bye. What does he always say? Toodles. Mwah.